Best mid lane is in 11.6. Oh, what's up GameLeap, it's the JIZZ back again, and in this video we're going to be covering the 15 best mid laners for patch 11.6. Now the 11.6 changes, guys, have shaken the balance of power in the mid lane, so if you want to know who to play for the next 2 weeks, do not go anywhere. The JIZZ is here to keep you up to date on what these red hot changes are, how much they will impact the mid lane landscape, on what they mean for you and your favorite champion. And while we're on that point, who's your favorite mid laner? Who are you enjoying playing the most in Season 11? And if you want even more of the JIZZ breaking something down, then make use of the amazing GameLeap website, guys. Challenger, courses, guides, videos, thousands of summoners have signed up and are frothing my daily upload, so get around it. I wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't legit. Links as always in the description and comment section. Alright, let's get into it, and starting off the countdown, we have a champion who will continue to have one of the highest win rates out of all the mid laners in 11.6. So if you're a fan of magical blades and blinking all over the place, 11.6 Kassadin, guys, still strong. But those of you who are subbed to the channel, and please do so if you haven't already, will know Kassadin was the second best mid laner last patch. So why has the Void Walker fallen down so much? Well, 2 runes you use have been nerfed, as has a key early game item. So the AP ratio and fleet footwork has copped it, meaning your mid to late game sustain is worse, and the Ravenous Hunter hit has the same effect but at the start of the game as well. Now the big nerf for Kassadin and other mages, guys, is the jab to Seeker's arm guard, so you're getting less armor. Now this is huge because mages have the lowest base armor in the game anyway, so Seeker's was your way out of the early to mid game against AD mid laners. Now you don't have it, and it's probably not even worth finishing Seekers. You might as well get a cloth armor and amp tone and just sit on them. The kicker though is this, Everfrost, and this item on Kassadin, this mythic, well, it's a deadly combination. It allows you to peel those AD assassins and hard engages and gives you a good amount of burst to chunk and one-shot enemy squishies, including those AD assassins you're going to see way more of. So in the big picture, guys, Cass is worse off for sure, but he was so strong that these nerfs don't even take him off our best mid laners countdown. Now this next champion, guys, you might be surprised because his first major item got nerfed, but as I just alluded to, with mages weaker, it pushes every AD mid laner back into contention. And the first of these champions is Viego, and if you're playing the Rune King in the jungle, or top lane for whatever reason, take that beautiful white hair of yours to the mid lane, where you actually have a high as win rate. Now yes, Blade of the Rune King's lifesteal is down, so your first item power spike is a little worse, but still good, and the trade-off here is that Bulk Siphon passive damage is higher at later ranks, making you even more of a menace in that mid to late game. Now you might also be wondering, JIZZ, Derek's Gauge got nerfed as well. You'd be right, but Riot have bug fixed the Bloodline stacks issue where you just didn't acquire them before. So even though these stacks are less impactful, the fact you now get access to them is big. Even with the Ravenous Hunter nerf, you can always take Second Wind and Revitalize instead if the early game is too hard to survive, and once you do, very hard to stop 11.6 Viego. Now we've got another mage coming in at number 13 on our countdown, guys, and she has been one of the standout mid laners of Season 11. Ever since getting reworked and buffed in the preseason, Anivia has dominated the Rift, and little will change next patch. Now similar to Kassadin, the change to Seekers is a pain because against Zeds, against Talons and all them, you are very squishy without it. And keep in mind that Seraph's Embrace no longer gives you a big juicy shield, so you are more death prone. The Ravenous Hunter nerf affects your sustain in lane and fights as well, but here's the thing. The new effect Riot have added to Luden's Tempest is massive for Anivia because with your AoE and your ultimate and your Q, you can lower its cooldown better than most other champions, so you get multiple echo procs off in fights. This allows you to fly around skill shots and cash up to your enemies to deal even more damage. Against tankier teams as well, the new Leandry's Anguish works brilliantly because both passives now work off the target's health. And the last Mana Mage mythic, Everfrost, of course, is hella OP on the Cryo Phoenix. You can root enemies in your ultimate, you can root enemies and then hit them with your Flash Frost. Its synergy with your kit is off the charts, and you will need it more this patch to deflect those pesky AD assassins. Just remember to hold your Q in those matchups, guys, and yeah, probably ban Yasuo. Now ahead of Anivia, I haven't talked about this champion for a while. Well, he's back in action because mages are going to find it impossible to deal with you, and you are one of, if not the strongest early game mid laner in the game. So if you like dreads and stealing Viego's girl, then you've got to play 11.6 Lucian, guys. Now one mini advantage you have as Luce this patch is that you don't go Ravenous Hunter in your runes like most champions do on this list. And then you also have the Seeker's nerf, which is built in the early game when you're strong, so with this being worse, your early game impact is at an all-time high. Your opponents will not be able to breathe in that mid lane, just be careful using your E into level 6 assassins. Now coming in next, guys, we have a mage who builds Seekers and Zhonya's and even runs Ravenous Hunter in her runes, but your burst damage is arguably the highest out of all mid laners. Now there's a reason why Diana has close to a 55% win rate in high elo. She's broken, with Night Harvester giving more AP from the 11.1 patch and everyone ignoring those magic resist items, you can carve up the Rift on Diana. Now one interesting point to make here is that to combat those AD champions who can sometimes do well against you, especially Aurelia, you can take Shield Bash in your runes, which gives you armor when you hit your W, so as you're trading with your opposite number, you're tankier, but hold on to all your damage. Really underrated. So 11.6 Diana, guys, still very strong. Alright, we're now into the top 10, and samuraiing his way into the 10th spot is a champion we either ban, flame, or report, and that's Yasuo. With mages being weaker, you're an even bigger counter pick, and though the Immortal Shield Bow change hurts you, because it no longer gives you lifesteal and its passive it's giving AD instead, the bigger shield it's giving you is enough survivability to survive whatever burst is thrown at you and go berserk. In addition, to avoid the weaker Ravenous Hunter, you can pull a Viego and take Resolve as your secondary tree, and you will keep slaying your foes in 11-6's Yats, guys. Now, this next champion, guys, in at number 9 is the second best mage of 11-6, and you might be like, what? We're only at number 9 on the countdown, and that's right. But I cannot stress to you enough how severe the Seeker's nerf is and how it affects every squishy mage in the game. So if you're not playing a champion who does well against AD mid laners and assassins in particular, 11-6 is going to be rougher than 2020. But for Ahri, into AD mids, you have all the tools anyone could ask for. You have harass, you have burst, you have sustain, you have self-peel, you have setup, you have roaming potential. The truth is that Ahri is one of the best all-around mid laners in the game, guys, and her charm is what really sets her apart. So if you use this wisely during the laning phase, no champion can hurt you. What's also busted this patch is Ahri with Everfrost. This lets you charm opponents 100% of the time after rooting them, and think about your ultimate as well. You can Spirit Rush so you're closer to that primary target when you use Everfrost active, allowing you to get in your full combo and Exodia them off the map. A great blind pick champion too, you cannot go wrong with Ahri. Now guys, this next mid lane, it's risky to blind pick because you can get hard bullied in the early game by mages, but the mage class is more vulnerable in 11-6, meaning Nocturne is even more of a weapon. Now you can build Dustblade if you're up against squishy enemy champions, but there is a better build you have to start using to win games on repeat, and that includes Stridebreaker and the bug fix Sterix Gauge. Now Stridebreaker is getting nerfed, guys, so you're losing 100 HP, but guess what you're keeping? Yeah, that dash that TPs you across people's screens, and then you slow them and claw them to death. So you might be a little more susceptible to hitting the deck in that mid game, but no one is escaping when you press R, and from the mid lane you can influence the whole map and 1v9 on the knock. Now I mentioned this champion earlier as a red hot counter pick to Diana, so if you see one on the enemy team, look at Aurelia, coming in at number 7. In fact, pick Aurelia in any game, guys, and you will put your team on your back, guaranteed. Now you're losing out on lifesteal this patch, that is correct, from the Bork nerf and the shield bow change, and all up, that's a fair bit, but you still have the healing in your queue, and that is based on your AD, so when that lifeline passive procs from shield bow and you get more AD, the more you're going to heal when you blade surge. Not only that, but your passive works off your bonus AD, so again, when that lifeline triggers, your auto attacks with max Ionian fervor stacks are going to shred. Throw in Conqueror as well and Last Stand, which will harmonize very nicely with the new shield bow, and you are actually scarier when you're closer to 1 HP. Now I don't want to sound too much like a broken record, but with mages having less defense against you and you yourself having damage mitigation in your W, makes you a good counter to squishy AD mid laners, and it's near impossible to trade with you. Now this next champion is similar to Aurelia. He likes shield bow and loves playing against the mobile mages, and the good news is that it's easier to see victory on him. So if you want a champion that looks like Yasuo but brings more to the party, then you have to pick Yone. Your damage, your sustain, your AoE, your ability to cancel CC, it's a very OP kid. Now the shield bow change isn't of any real benefit, but the bigger shield, well, many of you Yone mains might consider this a buff because getting chain CC'd and bursted down is a real weakness. So having more protection helps in this regard. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you think. The extra AD you're getting as well is handy because your Q and ultimate scale off AD, so if you use your Fate Sealed and spam your Mortal Steel when you have that lifeline passive on you, it's showtime. Now the lifesteal is down, that's true, so you're not going to be regaining half of your health after 2 Qs, but on the whole, Yone is retaining a lot of his power, if not all of it in 11-6, guys, and if you're not a fan of Ravenous Hunter, take the Resolve tree instead. Alright, we're now into the top 5, guys, and if you're enjoying the series, be sure to let us know by hitting that like button harder than you're hitting your keyboard this season, and make sure to check out the GameLeap website when this video ends. After coaching hundreds of students to division and tier climbs, you get access to champion-specific videos made by me on the daily, so if you want to climb, guys, it's all there waiting for you. Links down below. Now, kicking off the top 5, we have a mid laner who is the last and best mage on this countdown. So if you're a fan of magic damage, time to listen up. So you want to counter AD assassins and mash their punch with an even bigger punch. Well, thankfully, Ekko is still in the game. And whenever I play Zed, for instance, and see this dude facing me, I get mad because Ekko is extremely hard to kill, especially after level 6, and because of this fact, he can scale for free and become a much bigger influence on the outcome of a game. Alright, you can die in the early laning phase for sure, and the Seeker's nerf is a bit of a low blow, but your mobility, your shield, and your ultimate give you more than enough survivability and counterplay to everything AD in 11-6. With Hextech, Rocket Belt, and Lichbane, you have all the damage you need to delete champions in teamfights, and once you complete Zhonya's as your third major item, it's over. No one is going to stop you. Now speaking of Zed, here he is. Now if you're a Zed main who sends their shurikens to Mars, don't worry, you don't even need them to hard carry in 11-6. Well, you probably do, but yeah. What I'm saying is, guys, Zed is busted this patch. Now mages were notoriously tricky to handle as Zed prior to this patch, because after they get their Seekers, the early game is sealed and you can't make that much progress. But now, when you get your serrated Dirk and Deathmark, it is curtains. On top of that, if you're against a Yasuo or Yone or Aurelia with Shield Bow, less lifesteal means you have a way better chance of taking them down, and the fact that the systemic nerfs to healing this patch don't impact you because you don't run Fleet Footwork, you don't run Ravenous Hunter, you don't build Bork or Shield Bow, as these champions get hit, you're chilling with a smile underneath that mask. Remember as well, guys, that Serpent's Fang fang will be huge this patch because of the biggest shield and shield bow, so build this as a second item against these champions and any team comp with a bunch of shields. 11.6Z is a big pog. Now moving up to number 3 from number 5 2 weeks ago is another AD assassin who made Faker go 0-11. So Talon, guys, are no doubt one of the strongest mid laners in 11.6, and like Zed, you don't buy or use any of the items or runes with healing, so you're untouched. Like I mentioned with Zed, Serpent's Fang is an amazing item this patch because of the shield bow change, and everyone has a shield these days it seems, so as an AD assassin and lethality abuser, you will be solo carrying every game on Talon. The 11.4 buff to your rake has made it easier for you to wave clear in the early game, so you can surf over the Summoner's Rift terrain and execute every enemy champion you see with that Prowler's Claw of yours, and once you get the Fang, it's a go next for the enemy team, that is. Mages have nothing to stop you from slashing your way through the mid lane now as well, so 11.6 Talon, guys, beware of the hood. Now the number 1 champion from 11.5, not just mid laner, is only number 2 this week. Gosh, what a shame that is. I'm just joking, guys, because Qiyana could well be the number 1 still. I just wanted to mix it up a bit. Call me the IRL Singed. Alright, so as I just explained with Zed and Talon, Seeker's cut in half, Serpent's Fang carrying more weight, and then recent buffs to Qiyana herself has pushed the Empress of the Elements right to the top. Against melee champions as well, and you're going to see a lot of these this patch, you can tear them in half by starting and maxing your W, so you could not wish for a better time to start playing Qiyana, guys. It's right here, right now. Now coming in at number 1, guys, we have made it. Even before I get into the clues and reasons as to why this champion is number 1, throw some guesses at me in the comments because I doubt any of you will get it. Right, here we go. I'm still picked mostly as a support, which is funny because as a mid laner, I have a much higher win rate. I will be the best this patch though because I can cuck all those AD assassins we've been over. Why? Well, I can block damage, I have a point and click stun, and they will be too busy kappa priding my abs. The Sterix Gauge bug fix gives me scaling now too, which I didn't really have before, so even after I crush the early game, I'm still useful afterwards. If you don't believe how OP I am, ask a Yone main. I am that immovable object. I am Pantheon. So Pantheon's the number 1 mid laner in 11.6, guys, simply because he counters every AD mid, and with the Sterix buff and Seeker's nerf, everyone is going to feel the power of that spear of yours. As always, thanks so much for watching, and remember to hit that sub button and the bell of ours so you don't miss tomorrow's upload. And until then, this has been Coach.